All right. Are you over 50, Grandpa?
Yes, I am.
50?
86 to be exact.
Oh, good. Okay, can you tell me a bit about yourself and where you were raised?
When I was raised, well, there's not too much because I was raised during the Depression, and
Okay.
we didn't have no money or nothing. Everything was playing out in the yards, empty lots and stuff like that.
Yeah, playing with your friends
Oh yeah, all
outside.
neighborhood kids. That's what we did all the time.
And you lived in Michigan?
Right.
Okay. Um, what's been the greatest change in America since you were a child?
Yes. Well, let's see. Everybody's got automobiles. Some have two or three, and of course, population has expanded, and of course, the airplane has made a big difference also.
Because of the baby boom?
In a baby boom, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually that just more or less expanded because people keep expanding.
Okay. When did you first know you were interested in sports?
I was a little kid. My uncle, who was a high school, went to high school in the Heights, used to come and get me. What he did, he used to put canvases around the football field so people couldn't, watch it for free.
He would put what?
Canvases.
Oh, cameras?
Canvas.
Oh, okay.
Around the football fields and fences, so that way people couldn't had to pay to get in. And the school kids did it, put it up, and they get in free. What he did, I only lived about 3 blocks from the high school, and I was just a young guy. He would come down, he would put the fence up, and get his free ticket. And when he go out, and when he come back, he had a way of getting in, so he could get in too. And I had his ticket, so and the guy, another fellow living by me, would take me to Mars Field. That's in Muskegon with baseball, to watch all the ball games. So I was more or less bred into the sports.
Cool.
And I still like football. That's the main part of my life.
What's your favorite sport?
I don't have one, but if I had to say one, I would maybe say football. But basketball and baseball are right up there with football.
Not soccer?
Soccer, I love to watch soccer if I know somebody's playing, like my granddaughter. Uh,
Like Michigan State soccer?
yeah, but I have to go along with basketball, football, and baseball are my favorite
Well, then
sports.
who's your favorite football team?
Well, I have so many of them. See, when I was a kid, Notre Dame and Michigan never played each other, so they were my favorite teams. And then when all five of my kids, siblings, my own kids went to Central Michigan, naturally I got to be a Central Michigan fan. And Michigan State at that time, when I was a kid, Michigan State was a small school compared to Michigan Notre Dame. In fact, one time I went to in the 40s. I went to Ann Arbor to see a special player play for Michigan, and they played Ohio State that day. We couldn't get in, so we drove back to Michigan State and Lansing and watched Michigan State play Ohio Wesleyan. So Michigan State was a small school at that time. But since they got bigger, I still pull for Michigan State too. Especially my granddaughter plays soccer. Yeah.
Over Notre Dame?
Oh yeah. If they were playing Notre Dame, I'd put.
And over Michigan?
Yeah.
Good.
If my granddaughter's playing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who was the most important athlete when you were young?
Oh, it had to be Babe Ruth. He was
Everybody's favorite?
everybody knew Babe Ruth.
Now, how old was he when you were younger?
Well, he died pretty young. Well, I was old enough to watch them in the All-Star games. And when they first started playing them in the All-Star games and all, and him and Lou Gehrig and them guys played. So I was a little guy when he was playing, but he died young.
Yeah.
But
Was it a tragedy when he died?
Yeah, he was everybody's hero. All boys.
Yeah. Okay, how were sports different when you were younger? Was baseball more popular or?
Well, all three were popular, but the rules have changed, and all of them have changed different. It's all very different. When I was going to school in football, if the offensive team threw a pass in the end zone and the other team intercepted it, they had to get out of that end zone. So they didn't. There was a safety, 2 points for and they had to run it out. And then they got the ball where they ran it out to if they got out. And if they didn't, it was like I say, for safety and stuff like that. And there was players played both ways. It wasn't this changing. Offensive and defensive teams. Everybody played both ways.
Oh, okay.
See, so the rules are different in all
So the teams were
sports.
smaller
And yeah,
because
well, the teams, I wouldn't say they're smaller, but that's how they played. They usually, if you played, you played both ways. Well,
okay.
everybody.
So
See
they didn't
nowadays,
have set players for each different
yeah,
role on the team.
in high school today, especially the smaller schools, they have some guys play both ways, but in your college and pros, they don't.
And soccer didn't exist when you were younger in the
No,
States.
no, that wasn't at all. See, in the same way with basketball, when I started going to school playing basketball, every time you have a basket was made, you had a center jump.
You had a what?
A center jump, like you start the game with.
Oh, okay. So
See,
every time you would get
yeah,
2 points, you'd start in the center
yeah,
again,
yeah.
and then.
It was a slower game, much slower. And then when I was sort of in junior high, then they started taking the balls off underneath the basket. That speeded it up a little bit,
Mhm.
and things like that. But all sports, most sports have changed the rules and what they do.
Anything in particular in baseball?
Well, baseball, one of the big things is the pitching. Pitchers who go but pitch the whole 9 innings a lot of times. Nowadays, they very seldom they pitch to go 9 innings. They have relief pitchers, one for the seventh inning, one for the eighth inning, one for the ninth.
Yeah.
Closers. They didn't have that in those days.
Mhm. So
Pitchers,
they pitched all 9 innings, no
a
matter
lot of
what.
well, they're not always, but when you was pitching good, you stayed the whole game. You pitched the
Mhm.
whole game. They didn't take you out for. Of course, too, in the American League now they have that designated hitter. They didn't have that in the olden days either. National League still don't have it.
So even if you're slow, you just have to
Well,
hit it.
the thing I like about the designated hitter is the older players that are slowing up, running, and doing that can still pinch hit, can still hit, and they use them for designated hitter. They still play the game. Especially the popular one, they still get to play. You can still see them play yet.
Mhm.
But that's the reason I like National. But National League doesn't have it yet.
Okay. What was the most exciting game you saw or played in?
Oh boy. Well, it's hard to say, but I'm going to tell you one I can remember. Jim Bunning for the Tigers was pitching a no hitter. Okay, the
What
ninth
year
hit.
was this?
This is quite a few years ago because he after that he went to the National League. He pitched a no hitter there in the National League too. And now he's last I knew he was a politician. But anyhow, he had his no hitter going, and the last batter was Ted Williams, and you know he was the best hitter ever played the game of baseball. He's the only guy I ever heard of that ever batted over 400. And what he did, he hit a long fly ball, and I think it was Al Kaline caught it right in front of the fence. That saved his no hitter for him. That was
Wow.
exciting.
Do you watch it on TV in the house?
I think I saw that. I know I saw it on the news, but I think I saw it on the game too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But that's quite a few years ago.
Any other game?
Well, there's a lot of games that are exciting. Even the high school games, when it comes down to
Mhm.
well, when like with Spring Lake was playing I think it was Ryman Center in the playoffs. We was heading them all the way, and they tied it up, and then they had to go in overtime, and they got a touchdown, kicked to fix the point. Of course, Spring Lake got their touchdown, and they threw for two to win the game,
Wow.
and they went to state finals that year.
Mhm.
So that was exciting. But there's a lot of plays like that
Mhm.
are exciting, and all that was the game.
Did you only play baseball when you were younger?
No, I played sports, for the high school, I only ran track though in high school.
Okay.
Most of my school was Sandlot.
And then your daughter did high jump and ran track?
Oh yeah, yeah she did.
She was a star high jumper.
At one time she had the record, that Spring Lake record. I don't know if he has it or not. But
Mhm.
it was a little over 5 feet, about 5'2" maybe.
Mhm.
Her and their girl actually had the same one at the last I knew.
Now, how was it different? How you were explaining earlier, how was the jump different?
Well, they used to use the scissor jump.